Gimel. Page Chaf Gimel, we were right in the middle of an inyan in the paragraph. The first word in the paragraph is upayel. Got it? So what the Rebbe is talking about in this chelik of the Maamar is the pshat of the word sava, meaning Lashon Sivya and V'yofi, beauty. Or actually the word Sivya means just the forms. Sivya, when you have the combination of many forms together, so you get beauty. And what we learned yesterday, the Rebbe said that when you combine colors, on one hand you might think that you are compromising on the individual color. And the beauty comes from the fact that each color allows another color and then another color, and the combination, page Chaf Gimel. The combination of all the colors is what creates the beauty. But the individual color, the focus on that color gets lost. You don't pay attention just to one color. You're paying attention to the whole picture. So the Rebbe makes the point that it's true that when you combine colors, the beauty is the klolus, the general picture, the combination of all the colors. But at the same time, when you combine colors, you also see that it helps express the individual color as well. When you have one color, you don't see how powerful and beautiful that color is. But when you see how it contributes to a picture, you start appreciating the power and the beauty of that very color itself. So the relevance for this, of course, in Avodas Hashem is regarding every single person, that on one hand, the person is alone, so he's not as powerful. The person himself doesn't have the great koyach that he has when he's combined with other Yidden, when he's combined with other people, that everyone together contributes and creates the beauty in Avodas Hashem, each one adding their part, creating the full picture. But at the same time, when a person is collaborating and working together with others, it doesn't take away from the individual beauty of the person. On the contrast, it only express the beauty that he has. So we're holding inside where it says, Umizem muvan gamba nimshal. The first word on the line is upayel on page Chaf Gimel. Umizeh, got it? Upayel. Umizeh. So from this mashal regarding combining colors and creating a picture, we could also understand in the nimshal regarding a person's aveda. By combining all the different categories of Yidden together, as was mentioned over here before, people that are Mari Teire, people that are Mari Uvdin Tovin, Nasa Tachlis HaYofi, that brings the ultimate beauty, not only with out of the general picture that comes out of this combination, but gam b'chol sug b'fnei atzmai. Also, regarding each individual category, the beauty of each individual is also expressed. Which means even after you unite with other people, that does not mean that because now you're doing things in the setting of a tzibur, so the person has to give up his individual shlichus, his individual aveda in this world. Even after you combine with other people, the person remains with his aveda, whether it's mimari razin deraisa. His aveda is to learn the secrets of Torah. That's the highest level. Ad lemekayim Torah mitzvahs b'tmimus, until the people that are in the category of the lowest level, that they fulfill Torah mitzvahs sincerely without much understanding. Mara Yuvdin Tovin, the ones that are the masters of good deeds. So every person has to keep his.
Maybe it's from the lowest level to the highest level.
Okay, good. Say it. I'm asking. So the point here is that you have two milas. You have a combination of two milas. The mila of the individual and the mila of the general, the combination of the general tzibur that expresses the connection to the Eibishter in that way, through the tzibur. I think that maybe what the Rebbe is saying here in the Maamar, in this paragraph, could be related to a very general point that the Rebbe made earlier in the Maamar. If anyone remembers what we learned last week in this Maamar, the Rebbe made the point based on the Vart of the Alter Rebbe and the Magid and Chlal, based on the flow of this ice of the Frierdiker Rebbe, that when it comes to creating a Dira B'Tachtainim, there are two components to the Dira B'Tachtainim. And in the Lashon of the Maimon before, one is drawing from Atzmus Mahos. The concept of a Dira is a place where the essence of the person dwells, and therefore in the Nimshal, the idea of Dira B'Tachtainim is drawing from the very essence of Hashem. And then there's another concept, Memala Kalam. You have to bring that Atzmus Mahos in a way that it should be enclosed and relate to each place Lefi in Yonoi. That was the Lashon of the Maimon. You have to bring it to be revealed in each world accordingly. When you just draw from Atzmus Mahos, that encompasses all worlds equally, and it's mevatel everything. Everything becomes totally batel to Hashem. But that's not enough for the Dira. Just like in a Dira as well, a person is not just there with his whole essence, but he's also expressed the way he wishes at every moment of the day when he's in his house, according to that moment and the way he desires then. He's fully comfortable to express himself. So too, another component of the Dira is to bring and express the essence of Hashem on each level accordingly. Those were the two components we learned about before. So if you think about it, what the Rebbe is saying here about the two milas of combining colors and combining the different avodas of Yidden corresponds to those two different points. There's one point that you combine Yidden together, and a person, the individual, has to give up his Aveda, his personal Aveda, and he has to realize that there's something greater than just him personally. He has to be part of the Klal. And when you join the Klal, it's about being batel. Everybody is equal. We're all in it for the same purpose, to connect to the essence of Hashem, to bring Hashem down, and my individual Aveda doesn't matter here. I'm just joining the klal to do the general thing, to bring Mashiach, to bring the world to a better place. Right? That's one aspect of the Dira B'Tachtainim. The other aspect, though, is to bring that gili to you on your level. Just like the Rebbe spoke before, to bring it on each individual level. The Malachim, the Neshamas, and the Madregas. So it's the same regarding, over here the Rebbe is bringing the same point as it relates to every person's Aveda. There's the bittul aspect of your Aveda that connects to the essence of Hashem, where everyone's equal. And then there's the individual Aveda, that every person can't lose his individuality. And that's also the beauty of a Yid's Aveda. It's part of the beauty of the Dira, of creating a beautiful dwelling for Hashem. I believe that could be the connection here of this point. Let's go weiter. Now we start a new theme, different Indian. At least that's what it seems. Let's hamshich. Let's see. Mamshich ba Maamar. Frierdiker Rebbe now continues in his Maimon Mavayr, and he explains Hapirish the tzava shu akbalo mayit. The pshat of the word tzava, another pshat that it means akbalo mayit, a limitation and a set time. Shal derech yamim yutzara v'lo yachad gaimer, similar to the pasuk that it says Hashem creates all the days of a person, and v'lo yachad, as we'll see soon, the pshat of v'lo yachad. The tzava le'ena shalei yoretz, every person has a set amount of days on this earth. The l'chol adam arei yesh le'zman kavua, the yamim yutzaru, every human being has a set time, that's the days that are created for his life. When one completes his Aveda in this world, of refining the world through his Skafi and his Habchem, is oz hu b'chlal tzivus Havaya. That Aveda is the fulfillment of being part of the legion of Hashem, the army of Hashem, which is the third pshat of Tzava, which the Frierdiker Rebbe will explain in the next Eis, in Eis Yir Aleph. But this pshat here that the Rebbe will focus on now for the remainder of the Maamar, basically, is this pshat of tzava, meaning the set time, the time limitation in this world, and that's the place where a person does his Aveda. So the question on this is, what's the significance of this inyan that the Eibusha creates a set amount of days for a person's life? And the Rebbe adds what his question is about. The emphasis here is that a person's Aveda has to be enclosed in the days specifically. In other words, the Rebbe over here seems to saying a deeper pshat in what the Frierdiker Rebbe is saying. When you look at the simple pshat of what the Frierdiker Rebbe is saying is, practically speaking, a human being is living in time and space. A person has his life is in the days of his life. And where can you fulfill a mitzvah? The mitzvah is in this physical world, which has yomim. So Pashat, if you're alive, if you're here in this world, so then you can do the mitzvah. If you're not, you're in Gan Eden, so then over there's no mitzvah, there's no fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. So Yomim Yitzaru is just the setting or the place where it's done. But it's not significant necessarily, it's just practically, that's where the person's life is. But the Rebbe is saying, no, the fact that there's a third pshat a separate pshat of Yomim Yitzaru, Tzova, that a person has a set amount of days, is not just the reality of where a person is to fulfill Torah mitzvahs. There is a focus and an accomplishment of the person specifically drawing the energy of Torah mitzvahs that he does to draw it b'hislapshus, to get enclosed and connect to the days. The Rebbe's lashon is b'hislapshus by Yom Davka. Our objective is to actually connect what we do through Torah mitzvahs, everything we explained in the Maamar here, to connect it to the set time, to the limited time in the Yomim. So that's the question over here. Why are we focusing? Why is it significant to bring the Torah mitzvahs into the days? Shehem levushiyat Torah mitzvahs, the garment of Torah mitzvahs, shalom midvayis b'chol yom. The garments. Every time a person does a mitzvah, it's a garment. The mitzvahs are compared to garments, where a person learns and does b'chol yom every single day. Every single day. In other words, it's not just about doing Torah mitzvahs over the person's lifetime, but a person should see to it that on every single day he should do the mitzvahs that he's obligated to do that day, as the lashon that's brought. Okay, let's say continue inside. Harei, the question is, Harei birra olam hu al yedei Torah mitzvahs. Even if you're going to tell me, what's the point? We know that the whole point of Torah mitzvahs is to refine this world. That's a huge idea of Torah mitzvahs. You take an object of the world and you turn it into an object of a mitzvah. You turn it into a chayfetz shel kedusha. We know that the idea of Torah mitzvahs is to draw a lakus into the Welt. But the question still remains, okay, so you take hide of an animal and you make tefillin out of it. You take wood and you build a sukkah out of it, and so on. But v'lo tzarich li is dafke ba bayomim. What's the point of bringing it dafke into the individual days, into the limitation of the days? Then this goes so far, if a person is lacking one day of his life where he did not do a mitzvah, any mitzvah on that day, he's lacking in the levushim of his mitzvahs. Which means, even if theoretically the person on the next day does two mitzvahs, he fills in the gap of what he had the previous day, it's not the same. There's the vart of the Baal Shem Tov that's brought, huh? Yeah, we did. Ba'avram Zokim, Baba Yomim. So it says in the Zoya, Baba Yomim, that he had the levushim of his Torah mitzvahs, Baba Yomim, every single day to be Mekayim a mitzvah on that individual day. It's not enough if a person will say to himself, you know what, 5 days a week I'm too lazy, and then 2 days a week I'll fill in, I'll be busy the entire day and do the same amount of mitzvahs and maybe even more mitzvahs that I would do on the other days. So the chiddush over here doesn't work that way. It has to be every single day has to have a mitzvah, and if the day is missing a mitzvah, it's chasr levush echad. It's missing a levush of the mitzvah for that day. Shezeh hua inyan the yamim yitzara. This is the idea of yamim yitzara, not just the fact that a person is alive and he's here in this world, and that's the only place where it's possible to do a mitzvah. The objective is to draw the energy of the mitzvahs into each individual day. And it's only through this that only through this could a person come to the conclusion of the pasuk when you draw the loy echad, the unity of Hashem, as we'll see soon, into the world, into the individual days and the limitation of the world. That the Rebbe will explain. So what's the pshat in this? What's the point of the days, the individual days? So I believe the pshat here in the Maamar, the hemshech inyan here in the Maamar is not 100% clear, but I believe the pshat here in the Maamar is the answer to this question that the Rebbe is asking now is going to come at the end of this paragraph, and even more in the hemshech after that, the last few lines of this paragraph. When the Rebbe begins here, the Rebbe will explain that the Rebbe is not going to right away give an answer, but the Rebbe is going to explain, as a result of the fact that it is necessary for a person to specifically do Torah mitzvahs within the days and within the limitation of the world, so there's an issue that comes up. There's an issue that comes up with that doing mitzvahs in this type of environment and with this type of limitation, the days, and even without getting into the days, b'chlal, the environment of doing Torah mitzvahs in this world, on one hand, that's the objective, that's the whole point, dafka, to bring the Torah mitzvahs into the limitation of the day, into the limitation of the world, but at the same time, it creates a problem. What's the problem it creates? the Torah mitzvahs a human being, a yid in this world with a neshama b'guf does is not necessarily so pure, not necessarily so holy. A person does a mitzvah with an ulterior motive. A person does a mitzvah and there's other ideas that he's including in his fulfillment of the mitzvah. So then a mitzvah in this world and a mitzvah theoretically done in a ruchni is a good place, what would be a more pure mitzvah? If a person is just a neshama fulfilling Hashem's command, it's pure, it's the neshama doing the mitzvah. When we do the mitzvah in this world, the neshama has to include the guf, and the neshama has to include the guf the way the guf is today. One day a person is his guf is in one matzav, another day his guf is in a different matzav, whether it's the mood, whether it's the health, or whatever it may be, and the person's approach and attitude. So therefore the mitzvah is being done in each individual day, it's not necessarily so pure. Okay, so the Rebbe will bring over here from the Tzemach Tzedek to explain how we deal with that. Vayra Tzemach Tzedek, so now the Tzemach Tzedek explains, Shemitzad zeh shekiyam atayre mitzvahs nasa al yidei neshama k'moishim ulabeshes beguf. What the bottom of page Chav Gimel. Since a person that fulfills Torah mitzvahs, of course it's being done not just through his neshama, but his neshama enclosed in a body. L'chein shayich, it's possible sheyi b'zeh tareves in yonim ke'ele, what could get mixed in, what could get involved in his fulfillment of the mitzvahs, such kind of things, shebeglolam yitztarchu lirchaytz lezachiches alevushim. While he's creating holy garments, while he's creating a holy connection to Hashem, at the very same time, he's also involving his own dirt, his own baggage into the mitzvah, and then the mitzvah becomes sort of tainted. Then there's the problem of his mitzvahs that he's doing. Right? If you think about it, on one hand, the person is doing the holiest thing. In other words, the fact that a person has his machshavas zaros and his own baggage and his own issues and his own nefesh bahamis and guf and so on, okay, that's a human part of our human experience. But if that could be separated in one category of our day, and then when a person does Torah mitzvahs, a person can empty his mind and remove all of it, and then do the mitzvah purely, and then at least it's separated. It's two separate things. So when he does a mitzvah, the mitzvah, now I'm doing Hashem's command. Now I'm expressing my pure connection to Hashem. That's what a yid should really feel and do. This is my opportunity to connect to the Eibishter. So then, whatever issues of his nefesh bahamis he has to deal with is in one place, and when he does a mitzvah, that's over there. It's a pure connection. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. Like the Rebbe says, it's shayich.
That's what avoida is.
That what?
Is to be able
to correct.
Either elevate or to put it aside when you're doing a mitzvah. Or
correct.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of it. There is an avodah to deal with the nefesh bahamis itself. Whether the nefesh bahamis is interfering with your Torah mitzvahs or not, but there is an inyan to deal with the nefesh bahamis itself. Even if theoretically the nefesh bahamis is not directly interfering with the Torah mitzvahs. When you do Torah mitzvahs, then you're doing it purely. Then you have the ability to empty your mind. But if a person still has a strong nefesh bahamis, and that nefesh bahamis still takes control of most of his day, and most of his day is busy with his ego, and therefore he's only left with very little time for a mitzvah, so then he still has a big avodah to deal with his nefesh bahamis. But over here, what we're talking about is when the nefesh bahamis doesn't give him peace of mind, even while he's doing the mitzvah. He's coming to approach Hashem. He's already doing Ratzon Hashem. He wants to daven, and there in the davening, in the mitzvah, the nefesh bahamis says, "Do it for my sake. Do it because it's going to help your ego. Do it because you're going to get more honor. Because you're going to whatever it is." The nefesh bahamis throws in an ulterior motive while you're doing the mitzvah. That creates a levush of a mitzvah where there's baggage in this mitzvah.
Right, that's part of the challenge.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sure. So what's the point you're trying to make?
Right. If we wouldn't have that, what would life be? There wouldn't be challenges.
Yeah, 100%. But the question is, the way
it would
we
be very beautiful.
The way we
not exactly. No, very beautiful. I think exceptionally beautiful.
You will blame Gomez.
Without challenges.
The way you deal with the nefesh bahamis. Now you have an additional problem. To deal with the nefesh bahamis is one thing, but now you have to clean off the levushim of Torah mitzvahs that were tainted by the nefesh bahamis. That's already another problem that you have to deal with. To deal with the nefesh bahamis is one aveda. And now, what the Rebbe Tzemach Tzedek is going to explain here, how do we clean off these levushim of Torah mitzvahs? Yeah. Let's continue weiter. What's explained here is also related to what it says in another place. B'lashon Chazal, in the language of Chazal, Maisim Tovim. Okay, this is the lashon that's brought in, Pirkei Avos, Tshuva Maisim Tovim. So the question that the Alter Rebbe in Lekutei Torah asks, why does it have to say Maisim Tovim? Why does the Bechlal have to say, without the word Tovim? Why does it have to say Maisim Bechlal? Maisim Tovim. Tshuva. Gadol Yafeh Shah Achas B'Tshuva B'Olam Hazeh Mikol Chayil Ma'abav. A person's doing Tshuva. What is he doing? Not Maisim Tovim. If he did Tshuva, so now he did Tshuva, he's only doing Maisim Tovim. So why is it adding Maisim Tovim? So the Alter Rebbe teaches the significance is the word Tovim. Something about the word Tovim. A person can do Tshuva and he's doing mitzvahs, but those mitzvahs that he's doing are not necessarily Tovim. What's a not good mitzvah? Mitzvahs are good inherently. What's the pshat of not good mitzvah? So that explained according to what we just said. The action alone ain't a maspikadain. It's not necessarily enough. Because, as we just said, a person could do an action, but the action of the mitzvah is tainted by his ulterior motives, and therefore it becomes all the baggage. A mitzvah, like it says in Tanya, the mitzvah has the Ava V'yireh. And it wants to fly up, it wants to connect and go up, but it's carrying a heavy load, and the wings are not necessarily strong enough to carry such a heavy load. So there's this battle. The wings, the Ava V'yireh in the mitzvah, on one hand, which is the motivation of the mitzvah, the geshmak and the chayis in the mitzvah. At the same time, this baggage that the person put into the mitzvah, now it can't connect. So it's not Maisim Tovim. Ela tzarich liyos sha'maisim yiyu Tovim. The Maisim have to be Tovim, that a person should do it purely. The mitzvah should be done with the neshama, with the love and fear for Hashem, and not with his own baggage put into the mitzvah. The Alter Rebbe actually adds the word Tovim u'me'irim. That's usually the way it's brought. Tovim u'me'irim, that the mitzvah should be good and shining, sparkling mitzvahs, pure, holy mitzvahs. So v'hinei rechitzas ma'isa adam. How does a person wash off the actions of the mitzvah, if the mitzvah is done with ulterior motives? And then there's the shmutz, the baggage of the person in the mitzvah. How does a person wash that off? Nasas al yedei avedus atfilah. That's accomplished through davening. Kidu, as it's known, shali is kol inyani at Torah mitzvahs. Top of page Chavdalet. Shali is kol inyani at Torah mitzvahs, elevating all of the mitzvahs, the Torah mitzvahs of a person, to bring it to its source, to create that connection. And the baggage of the person shouldn't weigh it down. And so too, after there's an elevation, after you have a desarusa de l'sata, that generates an desarusa de l'ela, to draw down from above to below, a new amshacha to the person, a new connection. This is done through the Aveda of davening. What's the Aveda of davening? What's the characteristic of davening that has the ability to wash off the Torah mitzvahs, to bring it to its source above, and to draw down back to the person below? Davening is compared to a ladder, where the ladder is positioned on the ground, then it extends all the way up into the heavens. So when a person davens, so then the davening washes off the Torah mitzvahs. So of course, whatever the Rebbe said before regarding a mitzvah, that a person could do a mitzvah with all kinds of ulterior motives and involving himself into the mitzvah, and therefore the mitzvah is not pure, the same thing could happen in the davening itself. If a person is davening with his machshava zaris and puts all of his, and just reading the words, so you're left with the same problem. So when the Rebbe here is talking about the fact that davening solves this issue and davening cleans off the Torah mitzvahs, the Rebbe is talking about davening. Davening.
Real davening. Avedus atfilah.
No, on whatever level, but a person, we know what it says in Chassidus about davening, to really connect. In other words, if there's a difference between davening and all other mitzvahs. All other mitzvahs are actions, most of them. Most of the mitzvahs are just actions. So therefore, when a person does an action, the requirement, the chiyuv of the mitzvah, does not demand of the person to invest his heart and mind into it. You put on the tefillin, you do the action of the mitzvah, you did the mitzvah. You can make a bracha on it. And the mitzvah is done. Of course, if the person's heart and mind are involved in it, that infuses the energy in the mitzvah and he's fully involved. And if his heart and mind are elsewhere, so then that puts the shmutz into the mitzvah, like the Rebbe said. Davening is l'chatchila a mitzvah, which is defined as Aveda Shebelev. The source of Aveda Satfila is Va'avadatam as Havai Lekechem, which is Aveda Shebelev. So the whole mitzvah of davening is a person involving his heart. When a person davens and his heart is not there, it's not the pshat, oh, he did the mitzvah, and elamai, there's an issue of the shmutz that he put inside. Then there's the etzem mitzvah is lacking. So much so that if a person stam reads words and he has absolutely no awareness that he's standing in front of Hashem, he doesn't have the general kavana of dalaf ne'matayimid, or it's the whole davening. It's not even called a maisa of davening. It's questionable in the ganze davening. So the point that Rebbe is saying over here is, what is the essence of the mitzvah of davening? This is a mitzvah where the essence of the mitzvah is that you connect with your heart. And when you connect with your heart, that is the mitzvah that will schlep a person from the arza, from the lowest place he's on, to Shemaima, to the heavens. The arza and the Shemaima relates to the matzav of the person, to take him from his lowest spot in his life and reconnect him to the highest place.
Here
That's the kavanah here.
Daily davening, but other places, here it says the daily davening. Other places says the Shabbos davening, then takes all the davening and all the ma'asim of the whole week and elevates it.
Yeah, so both, correct. Both are true.
But this is ironic and paradoxical, because
why?
Today's day,
to
do a mitzvah, I mean, you're right, you don't do it for your heart, whatever, but at least you do it. You're doing it because of Hashem, you're not doing it because of you. Davening, you're totally, at least I feel like I'm disconnected. I'm totally, it's the hardest avoda. Mama's the hardest avoda. I'm doing it also
it's about
because
you. You're asking for yourself so many times.
No, if just the point that you're saying is, you ask me to do an action, say there, good. I have to do kach v'kach, done, check. If all that's demanded is the action, that you can do it, and you could even do it theoretically for that moment with a certain kavanah that I'm doing it for Hashem's sake. You want my heart? You want me the pnimius to connect to Hashem? So there, it's a whole different story. My heart's connected to other things. My heart's worried about this and about that, so over there, the person's not ready, and there's even a resistance sometimes, and therefore, sometimes dafkin davening, which is about the heart, is the place where the person feels like I can't do this, and the heart is just going wild astray somewhere else. It's true, and the chanami. But that's what we have to remember and tell ourselves, that davening is the time for a person to connect with his heart. That's what davening is about. Okay, we'll stop over here.
Practically, today's day for most people, it doesn't really happen. So the question is, how do these things get cleaned up? Since davening is the thing to clean up, and davening is the most difficult thing, and we don't